In a move that has sent shockwaves across the country, the Supreme Court has agreed to review Hawaii's strict concealed carry law, a decision that few saw coming and one that could have far-reaching consequences for gun laws nationwide. This unexpected step has reignited the fierce debate over where, and under what circumstances, Americans can legally carry firearms in public spaces, bringing both sides of the gun rights issue back into the national spotlight. The case at the center of this controversy, Wohlford v. Lopez, could either reinforce broad Second Amendment rights for individuals or, alternatively, give states sweeping new authority to restrict the carrying of guns in public places. Hawaii's law is considered one of the toughest in the nation, effectively banning guns in most public spaces. The Supreme Court's decision to hear this case has left many gun owners in Hawaii and beyond feeling anxious and uncertain about the future of their rights. The outcome of this case could set a powerful national precedent, either expanding gun rights across the country or allowing a patchwork of state-by-state restrictions to continue, with each state setting its own rules. At the heart of the case is a critical question: can states declare large swaths of public life as sensitive places that are completely off-limits to firearms, or does this go too far in limiting constitutional rights? Gun owners and advocates argue that these sweeping bans undermine their fundamental right to self-defense outside the home, leaving them vulnerable in public and eroding the core protections of the Second Amendment. The Supreme Court's upcoming ruling will define the real-world limits of the Second Amendment for years, if not decades, shaping how Americans experience their rights in daily life. With millions of Americans watching closely, this decision could fundamentally reshape the balance between individual gun rights and the power of states to regulate firearms, impacting communities and families across the nation. In 2023, Hawaii enacted one of the nation's most sweeping concealed carry laws, sparking intense debate and legal scrutiny. The law bans concealed carry in a wide range of public places: parks, beaches, banks, restaurants, and many other locations, effectively creating a patchwork of off-limit zones across the islands. For permit holders, this means that carrying a firearm in public is now nearly impossible, even for those who have gone through the rigorous process to obtain a permit. Many find themselves unable to exercise their rights in everyday situations, from running errands to enjoying a day at the beach. In response, 3 Hawaii residents, backed by the Hawaii Firearms Coalition, filed a legal challenge. They argue that the law strips away their fundamental right to self-defense, making it impractical to protect themselves and their families during daily life. The law goes even further by requiring gun owners to get explicit permission to carry on private property that's open to the public, such as stores and restaurants. This flips the traditional burden, forcing gun owners to seek approval rather than businesses opting out. Critics argue this effectively deputizes business owners, turning them into gatekeepers of Second Amendment rights and creating a near-universal ban on carrying firearms in public spaces. Initially, a federal judge sided with the challengers and blocked the law. However, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals reversed that decision, upholding Hawaii's restrictions as consistent with the nation's historical approach to firearm regulation. This back-and-forth legal battle has now set the stage for a possible Supreme Court review, drawing national attention and raising questions about the future of gun rights in America. At the heart of the case is a crucial question: can a state make concealed carry technically legal, but so restricted that it's virtually impossible to practice in real life? The answer will have far-reaching consequences, determining whether Hawaii's approach becomes a blueprint for other states, or struck down as unconstitutional overreach. With gun rights and public safety hanging in the balance, the stakes couldn't be higher for gun owners, lawmakers, and communities across the nation. The roots of this battle trace back to the Supreme Court's 2022 Bruen decision, which struck down New York's restrictive concealed carry law. Bruen declared that law-abiding citizens have a right to carry handguns for self-defense outside the home, forcing states to loosen permit requirements. In response, states like New York and Hawaii passed new laws banning guns in a long list of sensitive places. Gun rights advocates saw this as an attempt to sidestep the Supreme Court's ruling. Lower courts have issued conflicting decisions, and the Supreme Court declined to intervene in New York's case, leaving the law mostly intact. Now, with the Hawaii case, the court is poised to finally clarify how far states can go in restricting where guns are carried. The outcome will shape gun laws across the country. After Bruin, the Supreme Court said a new standard gun laws must align with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. This history and tradition test has left lower courts divided, with some striking down gun bans and others upholding them. The resulting legal chaos has left gun owners and states in limbo. The Hawaii case marks the court's return to the issue, signaling a willingness to clarify what counts as a sensitive place and how far states can go. Observers believe the justices waited for a case that squarely presents these questions. The outcome will impact not just Hawaii, but also states like New York, California, and New Jersey. Will the court double down on a broad Second Amendment, or allow more flexibility for public safety? The answer will set the tone for gun regulation nationwide. Hawaii and New York both responded to Bruin by banning guns in a wide range of public places, but their laws differ in key ways. New York's law presumed guns were banned on private property unless owners posted signs allowing them, a provision struck down by a federal court. Hawaii's law requires gun owners to get explicit permission, a subtle but crucial difference. The Supreme Court declined to hear New York's case, but took up Hawaii's, likely seeing a clearer path to address the core constitutional questions. The court's ruling on Hawaii will directly affect New York and other states with similar laws. If Hawaii's law falls, gun owners in New York will have new grounds to challenge their own restrictions. If it stands, expect more states to follow Hawaii's lead. The fate of both states' laws now rests with the Supreme Court. The fight over concealed carry is about more than just the wording of laws. It's about a deep and ongoing clash between the fundamental rights of individuals and the collective need for public safety. This debate has become a defining issue in American society, touching on questions of freedom, responsibility, and the role of government. Gun rights advocates argue that sensitive places laws unfairly disarm law-abiding citizens, leaving them vulnerable in situations where they might need to protect themselves or others. They insist that the right to self-defense, enshrined in the Constitution, must extend to public spaces, whether that's a park, a shopping mall, or a place of worship. Supporters of concealed carry point out that permit holders are among the most thoroughly vetted citizens in the country, often undergoing background checks, training, and regular renewals. They argue that restricting these individuals does little to stop criminals, who are unlikely to follow gun laws in the first place. On the other side, supporters of gun control say that more guns in public inevitably mean more risk, especially in crowded or sensitive areas like schools, government buildings, or public events. They worry that the presence of firearms increases the chances of accidents or violence. These advocates argue that states have a duty to protect the public by limiting firearms in certain places, balancing individual rights with the broader need for community safety and peace of mind. Both sides see the Supreme Court's upcoming decision as a defining moment that could reshape the future of gun rights and public safety in America for generations to come. The outcome will either expand the right to carry firearms in public or give states new authority to restrict it, setting a precedent for future debates. The stakes are nothing less than the safety and freedom of millions of Americans, as the nation grapples with how best to protect both individual liberty and the common good. The Supreme Court's ruling in Woolford v. Lopez will reshape concealed carry laws nationwide. If the court strikes down Hawaii's law, it will expand gun rights and force states to rewrite restrictive regulations. If the law is upheld, states will have a blueprint for enacting tough new limits on where guns can be carried. Either way, the decision will set a national precedent and fuel new legal battles. The fight over the Second Amendment is far from over. The court's next move will echo for decades, defining the balance between gun rights and public safety. The future of concealed carry in America hangs in the balance.